Hi everyone, Shane Stevenson here at the Buffalo Naval Park with...
Hi, I'm Lucas.
Lucas again. Lucas, you're looking good in your overalls. I like that. You're doing a little...
I wasn't as well prepared last time.
Yeah, that's true, but now he's in his dirt overalls, dirt coveralls, when you're doing digs. Archaeological digs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. So, we are going to be bringing you a few new archaeological videos that we'll be filming and then releasing to you. And thanks so much for your support with the USS Little Rock's archaeological treks episodes 1 through 6. We got a lot of interest and a lot of comments on them, and so hope you enjoy these videos as well. We're standing on the Fantail of the USS Little Rock, so we haven't left the archaeology of the Little Rock as of yet. And we had the Little Rock Association here this past week, and if you've watched that video of me talking with, explaining and summarizing my conversations with Frank, he was a catapult officer here in 1945. That was really exciting to talk to him. And I spoke to someone else who supplied some photos, and he had some really nice photos of the Fantail here. And one really stood out, and I shared it with Lucas, and he got excited and I got excited. So we decided to figure out what was going on in that photograph. We still haven't been able to figure it out, but it led us down a pathway with all of these archaeological finds here on the Fantail. So you're going to come along with us now on the Fantail, and we're going to explain some differences and some changes. So we're standing on the port side now, and if you look over our shoulders, you'll see the hatch, the deck hatch for the Fantail. Right? We now have this doghouse here that you can see, but this was a major identifier in the photograph that we'll be putting up.
Yes, so we tried to figure out where the men were standing based on different features in the photograph, like this davit and this bit. But when we went out there, we noticed that they were both missing, and that kind of led us down a rabbit hole to look around to see what else is different. So we are standing now about where the davit or the bit in the picture was, and there's this plate that used to hold it.
So you'll see in the photograph that the original bits, those rounded things that they would put the mooring lines wrap around and intertwine them, was right here. And on starboard side, we'll take a quick walk over there in the video, later in the video, but they're perfectly in parallel with each other. Now we don't have the plate, or we have the plate, no bits. Behind Lucas here is what in the photo used to be the davit. Right? They've just kind of capped it here. And we have another set of bits, and then we have the missing davit. So this would have been a place for watercraft, and in the photograph you can see very clearly the two davits that are, one of them is now completely cut and one of them is capped.
So in our investigations, this kind of led us to look at all of the bits and chocks around here. So if we can come down here, we looked on the plan for Little Rock, and we've noticed that on the port side we should have a chock, a bit, and another chock. And this chock bit chock layout should be mirrored on the starboard side, but it isn't. Instead, they moved this bit in and back. I'm not really sure why. There could be a number of reasons. This chock, we're still kind of not sure if it's from 1960 or if it's new, because if we look on the side here, there's a plaque, and it says chalk test and then it gives the weights in pounds that it's rated for, and the date, May 1975. So we know that this chalk was here in May 1975. And this bit has the exact same plaque.
So it says bit testing, and then the load, and then May again of 1975. So the closed chalk that we were just looking at is actually a little aft of the closed chalk on port, and we have the physical evidence of the one that mirrors the bit over there. You can see on the deck there was a weld here where the bit originally was. Then we have the secondary weld almost in a near identical spot, and then the whole structure, the bit structure, ends up towards the middle of, near the middle and the center line of the Little Rock. So as Lucas was mentioning, at some point these are in the original spot on the plans that we'll show you again that we used in the 6-part series. And if that's from 1970, 1971, they're in the original spots. By May of 75, it appears as though they moved both the bit and the chalk. So somewhere in that 3.5, 4-year window is when they moved them.
Now, aside from the bits and chalk, we've noticed a few other strange things happening. So if we come over here, we've got a plate welded on top of what looks like a hatch, another weld mark that could be a hatch, but then a little farther back we have two that are absolutely hatches. So you can see here we have a circular scuttle and 2 points for the hinges that they just blanked over entirely. I'm not really sure why. You don't see this anywhere else except for here. And then this is an even larger hatch that again has the 2 hinges still welded into place. We're not really sure what these are for, so we went down to the second deck to see if there was anything that we could discover down there. So when we came down to 3rd Division berthing, we immediately found this ladder on the rear bulkhead. And not just the ladder, it goes up into the overhead where we can see one of the hatches that got welded over. But that's not even the weirdest thing in this space.
So we're going to be heading into the aft head, as far back as you can go on the USS Little Rock here on the second deck. In 1945 to 1949, this was called the machinery flat, like that term, and then on either side was 20mm stowage. It is a little loud in this space. We do have a ventilation fan running, so I'll speak up. So let's head in. So, as Lucas was mentioning, when we come around the corner, up on the main deck, where you saw in the video earlier, we had that round trunk scuttle, right, and then that larger rectangular welded with the hinges. Right. Now what we are seeing is the product down below. So this area here is more than likely where that round scuttle was located. And on the plans in 1945, this was the aviation fuel trunk. So that means leading from the main deck, and it went all the way down to the second platform for the aviation fuel for the seaplanes. If we come over here, again, referencing on the main deck, we had that more rectangular weld. And on the 60s plans, from 60 to 76, it says diesel fuel for motorboats. So after discussing this with Lucas, we decided that this was the actual tank for the diesel fuel. And the hatch would open, and there'd be either, hose to pump it out, or they would have, carry containers for that. But we can believe that in this tank right here, which now seems pretty hollow, as Ryan, our cameraman, was mentioning, it probably was stored in this space here for transport to the boat deck and the motor rail boats. So Lucas, we got that nice photograph of the Fantail from 1970 from the old Salt when he was here for the association reunion. That led us down a goose chase. That led us down a goose trail of chocks, bits, weld marks everywhere on the Fantail, and then that led us down to the second deck.
Yeah, very surprised to see that we have a ladder to nowhere, a fuel tank that nobody can access, and a trunk that goes from the main deck all the way down to the second platform that's just completely inaccessible now.
That is quite a mystery, I would have to say. We would have to maybe do another video to see if it's accessible on the third deck or the first platform. So maybe we'll do that in the future. Well, this is why also that it's so important that we get donations of photographs. Look at where one photograph led us, because it was kind of a mystery. And it led us down the path of doing all of this archaeological research here on the Fantail. Thank you again for checking into our videos. Can't thank Lucas again for coming back into town and spending some time filming these awesome videos. We hope that you enjoy them. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, get notifications. And you know what, everybody? Lucas and I will see you again soon.